Hello and welcome back to the Peak Endurance Podcast, the podcast that helps you push your limits and achieve your ultra running goals, hopefully. Alrighty, I'm Isabel Tate, and today I'm diving into another popular recovery running tool. I'm just going to move the camera just a smidge. Um, okay, and it was one that was really popular a couple of years ago, and that is the Theragun. Yes. Is it the secret weapon for faster recovery or just for making you go deaf? Let's find out. Before we start, if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and, ring the bell to stay updated. Is that what they say? On all things ultra running. Now, let's get this show on the road. As ultra runners, we're always looking. I don't know about you, I'm certainly always looking for ways to recover faster and more efficiently. As I said in the pod on the recovery boots, of course, nutrition and sleep are the bee's knees when it comes to recovery. And that's what you should be focusing on. But sometimes we all need a little bit of a hand, a little bit of help. So the Theragun is a percussive therapy device and it promises to do just that. So it uses percussion. So percussion, repeated motion like that. Alrighty, so we open it up and we have in here the Theragun. This was one of the first ones, so it is, shall we say, a tad on the noisy side. You got your spare battery and the little pouch with all the different attachments. But to be honest, I mainly just use this attachment there. This one, which is like a padded one, that's looking a bit squished and off center now. That's more like for your really tender parts. Like you don't want to, like my calves. I cannot put this on my calves. Definitely not this. Oh my word. I don't know many places you'd want to put this, maybe into your hip or your glute. This one, it's almost a bit too round. It kind of doesn't do anything. I find this one is the happy medium. All right. So I've been using it for the last couple of years, on and off, shall we say. Um, as I spoke about last time, I do get restless legs, and I used to find before I got the recovery boots, and if I couldn't be bothered sitting there for 20 minutes, just getting that into my shin, because for some reason it's also that shin muscle, between the two bones that for some reason cramps up during the night. So I can find that that can help. Um, and you can, I sometimes also use it on my shins and calves before my runs. I must use that on my shin, but then I just find it too intense for my calves. So I'll just massage. I've got down here my baby oil for massaging my calves. And then I follow that up after I've massaged with baby oil with the deep heat. Um, yes. So, you know, ultimately, I don't just use this sort of thing. I just like spending money on lots of different recovery tools. As always, I am not sponsored by any of these products. So, what you are getting is 100% truth in my reviews. All right, should we go for how? All right, well, let's go for the basics first. The Theragun handheld device, a little bit hefty, that delivers rapid bursts of pressure into your muscle tissues. It's designed to increase blood flow, aren't they all? But ultimately, that's what works the best for recovery, which is why icing things and ice baths doesn't work, because that decreases blood flow. And to recover and to improve, you need to increase blood flow. So just think about it. Think about it. Contrast therapy, different. That increases blood flow. Ice baths decreases. Icing things stops the blood flow, restricts blood flow. All right. Supposedly reduce muscle soreness. Yeah. I also get a sore quad like when I run, especially if I try to pick up the pace. So before I go for a run in the mornings, I'll massage my shin with this. I'll massage that quad, hand massage the calf. Like it's a bloody rigmarole, can I tell you? But these are the things you have to do, especially once you get a little bit older, like moi. And not just older age wise, but older running age. When you're newer to running, your muscle tissues are nice and happy and they haven't been brutalized like mine have for years of really, like I used to push myself to the absolute limits and I still do, not quite as much, but I used to push myself to pretty much the point of collapse. So my body, poor thing, it's been through the ringer. All right. So it's solid, well built, an ergonomic multi-grip handle. So you can hold it there, and I guess, and I hold it like that. But at about 1.3 kilos, it's probably not your first choice for a drop bag item or to take when you're traveling overseas. Once again, I would not take this overseas. You can get the cheaper lightweight versions. My son's got one just over there, and I tried it. And sure, it's cheaper and lighter weight, but it didn't really do much. All right, you ready for the noise? Okay, so I suppose it's not too bad. I'm getting it into my shin there, and you can push it anywhere. But I have to tell you, once again, I've got the TV there. When we put this on, or when I put this on, because Ron doesn't use this, um, we have to turn up the television, okay? Because I can't hear the television when I've got this going. It's really quite noisy. Now, supposedly, the newer ones are quieter. I can't speak for that because this cost me a fortune as it was. I got, because I buy everything on special. I bought this, like I said, many years ago. It was like bloody 2020 or something. Wow, so long ago. It feels like so long ago because it was during the COVID time. And that just feels like, oh my God. Anyway, I got it on a Black Friday sale. So I did get it a bit cheaper. I can't remember how much, but it was cheaper than, full price. I sometimes wonder about this Black Friday sale. So anyway, so it comes with the attachments that I said. I find this one the best, the least painful, but whilst still getting in to the muscles that you need. I get a really tight right hip, so I really like to get it in, really get it into the hip, and you can hear it there where it hits a bone. You want to try and avoid the bone. But yeah, so I find that really helps getting into the hip, getting into the quad. Like I have a skinny back. I wouldn't be getting it into anywhere on my back because it's just all bone. And it's not the nicest feeling. So, so it is good for, like that's a real tight spot, but then this also gets in. The big spongy one, I guess, is for bigger areas. But to me, that's just like, it's not really, it doesn't feel like it's getting in. You might as well use compression boots. So I personally mainly like to use this for before runs. In regards to recovery, after a big hard run, when my muscles are sore, I would find this too painful. Maybe the softer one after a big run, maybe, but certainly as this is, I would find it too painful after a run. So I generally use it as part of my warm-up routine. Just 5 minutes. I just have it sitting here at the coffee table, and the other couch over there. I put my shoes on. And that's why I've got all the baby oil here. I do this. I do the rubbing of the calves. She's good to go. Now, once again, like the compression boots, this is not a cure-all. And personally, I don't believe this takes the place of massage. These things are what you would use in between your massages. I still get a massage every 2 to 3 weeks. Personally, I would like to get one every week, but who's got that kind of money? Not me. So I would use these, or I do use these in between my massages with a qualified massage therapist. So while it definitely helps with tightness and a bit of soreness and all that sort of stuff, it's part of your recovery routine, which is nutrition. Like when I first get in from a run, I don't go, oh, quick, grab my Theragun and massage my muscles. No, I go, oh, quick, eat. Okay. And that eating has much better, restorative benefits. Also, muscles that are sore when you've just come in from a run, they're sore for a reason because running, you've torn all the little bit of muscle fibers. Just whacking this onto torn, those slightly torn muscle fibers. Oh, I don't believe that that's brilliant for them. Maybe the compression, but definitely not this straight after a run. I would not suggest. Like I said, maybe, excuse me, just looking at my ass there. Maybe this one would be okay. But personally, I don't feel like it really does anything. So it kind of seems a little bit pointless. So proper recovery includes hydration, nutrition, and rest. And when I say rest, yes, I mean resting back, watching Netflix or reading a book or whatever. I also mean sleep. Sleep is so important. You know, if there were only two things, I was going to say two things you could do for your recovery, it would be sleep and nutrition. I believe that's so important. Alrighty, it's expensive, not as expensive as the recovery boots, but it's a lot of money, and you probably use the recovery boots more because this is a bit more of a hassle to use. Like you've actually got to do something. The recovery boots, you can just lay back and, relax. Whereas this, you've got to actually get into it and do it. And after a while, it's quite heavy. Not to sound like a wuss, I do upper body weights, but my arm sort of starts to get tired a bit. That sounds pathetic, but you know what I mean. All right, so it definitely has earned a permanent spot in my recovery toolkit. Absolutely, I'm glad I've got it. It's effective, it's versatile, it's really well built. You just press this button to turn it on. Over here, that's where the battery pops out, and it's easy to replace, easy and quick to recharge. You've always got a spare battery. Like I took this for before my 100K race. We did it while I was waiting on my calves. The battery ran out because I had forgotten, but luckily I just keep one always charged, and just swapped it over. Not a problem. When it does get into the right spots, it does feel good. Can be painful, of course, but that's all right. So can massage. And it's good for recovery between tough workouts and to loosen up some knots. If you're you can't go get a massage every second day, so that it's great for that. The drawbacks, the price point is high. It's quite hefty to lug around. You wouldn't be taking it on a flight. Pretty heavy and expensive to have in a drop bag. I'm not sure I'd want to have that in a drop bag. I might have it with my crew. But even then, it takes up a fair bit of room. But can I say the bag, really handy, great bag, great for travel. If you are taking it traveling, it's a good bag and solid. If you are a runner who frequently deals with muscle tightness and, knots and soreness in that way, then I would suggest that you consider adding this to your toolkit of recovery tools. But as I said last time, everybody's body responds differently. What works for me may not work for you. So like I said with the boots, try testing one out. Try using a friend's one. I've got another friend who got a slightly cheaper version one, and it was really quite good, and it had some better tools, I thought. So, it just depends on how much money you're willing to spend and whether you want to go for the original or not. When I got the Theragun, there wasn't really any copies around. So there was only the Theragun. So that's why I bought it. Now there's a million of them. Just test them out, easy peasy. But I think, it is something worthwhile having. To be fair, those hard balls, I roll on those and get into knots with that. And in many ways, that's equally as good and, so much cheaper. But this is also good because it gets in a bit more than you can with the ball. Sometimes with the ball, you kind of wuss off a little bit. With this, you can push a little bit harder. So that is my viewpoint on the Theragun. I think it is worth having. I'm glad I've got it. I'm glad I spent the money. Do you have to have it? Do you really need it? Not really. Like, it's good to have, but not necessary. However, I run fairly high mileage, not really, 100 to 130 Ks a week. I wouldn't call that huge mileage. So, but still enough, because some of it is on trail, so it takes a little bit longer, that I feel I need a little bit of extra help. Sleep and nutrition is great, but I do get muscle soreness, so it is something good to have. And I do get a lot of tightness and that sort of thing. So if that sounds like you, then give it a try. Borrow someone's if you can. If not, like I just bought it, I didn't know anything and I just bought it. So, you can always do that too. I doubt that you will regret having bought it. You may not, it won't be number one on your toolkit resources. But I just think it's good to have a variety of options for recovery, because the faster you can recover, the harder you can train. That's why It's so important to focus on nutrition. All these people who say, oh, I can't eat when I get back from a run, I don't want to eat, or they're worried about calories and it's a good way to lose weight if I don't eat, blah, 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 after a long run. Like, you're shooting yourself in the foot. You get such better gains if you focus on nutrition and sleep as your main aspects of recovery. These are just extras to help with the little sorenesses and the niggles and keep niggles at bay. And to be honest, I do all of this stuff and I have not had an injury, touch wood, in a very long time. Niggles, yes. Painful little bits and bobs, but that's also part and parcel with being a runner. Like, you cannot expect to be a runner and to run without having anything hurt ever. It just, I'm sorry, it just doesn't happen. Either that or you're 18. Like, maybe when you're 18, but even then, running is a high impact sport, so you will get little aches and pains. And in reality, it's not that bad compared to other sports. Like, you look at netball or football, you know, there's lots of injuries, all sports. The only way you don't get injured is sitting on the couch, but then you get other things, don't you? And you probably do. You get sciatica. All right. So that's my take on recovery. That's the Theragun. Give it a crack. You might find it helps. My suggestion, if you're umming and ahhing, then don't bother. If you're really not sure, if you're like, oh, it's a lot of money, I'm not sure if it's going to help. It's not going to help that. It's not a game changer. It helps, but it's not a game changer. Do the basics. Use a ball, roll on that, stretch, do your mobility work. I do all of that as well. These are things that I do on top of that. If you're not rolling, stretching, then do that first before spending the big bucks on these expensive toys, because ultimately they are toys, they're fads. You know, it used to be the Theragun, now it's the recovery boots. I don't know what will be next, but it'll be something. So focus on the basics, the things that really make a difference: nutrition, sleep, using a ball to get into the knots, and stretching and mobility work. And I know some people go, oh, stretching, blah, blah. Runners get really tight. We need to do some stretching. I'm not saying go be a gymnast style stretching, but you need to do some stretching because that also enables you to be mobile. So I do the stretching and mobility work. So give that all a crack. And then if you still feel like you need extra help and you're getting regular massages and you still feel like you need extra help, then get a Theragun. Okay. Do all the basics first. They are the ones that make the biggest difference. These are just icing on the cake. All right. Let me know your thoughts. Do you use a Theragun? Did you run out and get one like I did when they first came out? You know, it's new. I've got to buy it. And if so, what are your thoughts? Are you glad you bought it? Do you think it's an essential item? Let me know. Drop a comment. Let us know. And don't forget, please subscribe because we'd love to see lots of I can't speak English clearly, subscribers to the Peak Endurance podcast. All righty. Till next time, where I will be talking about TENS machine for recovery. Another awesome tool in my toolkit. All right. Till then, I'll chat to you later. Bye.